On a windy June morning in 2023, as the sun struggled to break through thick clouds, the coastline of Bataan, Philippines, braced itself for a moment that would be remembered for years to come. The turquoise waters off Bataan, usually calm and serene, witnessed an unprecedented sight that marked a turning point in regional maritime history. For the very first time, Coast Guard ships from the Philippines, Japan, and the United States sailed side by side in a coordinated joint drill, their movements synchronized in a powerful display of unity. Their white hulls cut through the choppy sea, banners and flags fluttering in the strong wind, a striking symbol of new alliances forming in a region long marked by uncertainty and rivalry. The message was unmistakable. These countries were ready to protect the ocean together, standing shoulder to shoulder in the face of growing challenges. Tensions in the South China Sea had been building for years, with more frequent standoffs and close encounters involving Chinese vessels, raising concerns among neighboring nations and the international community. Against this tense and uncertain backdrop, the joint exercise became both a warning and a declaration. We stand together, united in our commitment to peace and stability. For the Philippines, this was a bold and historic move. No longer would its Coast Guard face off alone against larger, more intimidating ships in disputed waters. Now, its Coast Guard was maneuvering with trusted partners, demonstrating a new era of unity and cooperation across the vast Indo-Pacific region. For Japan and the US, joining the drill sent a reassuring message to allies and a clear signal to rivals. Strength can be shown without firing a single shot, and alliances matter more than ever. The drill sparked headlines across Asia and beyond, signaling not just a new level of cooperation, but also a shifting balance of power in these contested waters. The waves around Bataan that morning carried echoes of history, reminding all who watched that the past and future meet at sea, and that this was the promise of a new beginning for the region. Why was this drill so important? What made it stand out from previous exercises in the region? It marked the first time the three countries worked together at sea in this way, coordinating their efforts in real time and sharing operational responsibilities. For decades, US, Japan, and Philippine ships trained separately or in pairs. Now, they acted as a unified team, bridging gaps in communication and building trust through direct collaboration. In diplomatic terms, this was a trilateral advance, signaling a new era of cooperation and mutual understanding among these nations. The joint drill sent a strong message to China and others. These countries are serious about defending their interests and upholding international norms in contested waters. While not a formal military alliance, this cooperation is a significant step closer to collective security, showing a willingness to stand together in the face of regional challenges. The drills demonstrated that countries with different backgrounds and capabilities can join forces to protect international law and ensure freedom of navigation for all. Japan's constitution limits its armed forces, but its Coast Guard is now playing a bigger regional role, stepping up to support peace and stability in Asia's vital sea lanes. The US was eager to show commitment to allies, reinforcing its presence and reassuring partners of its dedication to shared security goals. The Philippines signaled it would not be intimidated and now had friends by its side, strengthening its resolve to protect its maritime rights. Practicing together means learning each other's methods and tactics, building interoperability, and making it easier to respond fast and effectively in a real crisis. In maritime security, preparation is half the battle. These joint drills lay the groundwork for a safer, more cooperative future at sea. The drills were focused and intense. Crews from all three countries practiced boarding, simulated suspicious vessels, a key skill against piracy and illegal fishing. They also drilled oil spill response and search and rescue operations, preparing for emergencies. Participants used fast boats, helicopters, and advanced communication equipment. There was a heavy emphasis on coordination. Teams had to work together under pressure and make decisions as one. The exercises came just months after incidents involving Chinese vessels harassing Philippine boats, adding urgency. The crews knew they were not just practicing, they were preparing for real situations. For the Philippines, practicing with larger partners boosted morale. For Japan and the US, it was a chance to strengthen ties and show commitment in action. The South China Sea is one of the world's most important waterways. Over $3 trillion worth of goods passes through it every year, and beneath its surface lie vast reserves of oil, gas, and rich fishing grounds. At the heart of the dispute is China's 9-Line, claiming nearly the entire sea as Beijing's own. The Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all have overlapping claims. China has built artificial islands and military bases, alarming its neighbors. Recent years have seen Chinese ships harassing others, blocking supply missions and using water cannons. These actions have raised the risk of accidents and escalation. For smaller countries like the Philippines, standing up alone is risky. Whoever controls the sea can shape Asia's economy and security. That's why the South China Sea is often called a powder keg. One spark could set off a much bigger crisis. Faced with China's growing power and assertiveness in the region, countries across the Indo-Pacific are increasingly choosing to work together. The shifting balance of power has made cooperation not just an option, but a necessity for many nations seeking to protect their interests and maintain stability. The United States, Japan, and Australia have stepped up support for the Philippines, providing advanced ships, modern equipment, and joint training programs. These efforts are designed to boost the Philippines' maritime capabilities and strengthen its ability to respond to challenges at sea. These growing partnerships make each country stronger, both individually and collectively, and send a clear signal to China that any act of aggression will not go unanswered. The message is one of unity and shared resolve. This cooperation is about more than just military drills. It's about building a lasting network of trust, shared values, and mutual understanding. By working closely together, these countries are laying the groundwork for long-term peace and stability. The United States and Japan are especially committed to a free and open Indo-Pacific, where all countries, big or small, can follow international law and resolve disputes peacefully, without fear of coercion. Australia, too, has sent ships and personnel to show its support, participating in joint patrols and exercises that demonstrate solidarity with regional partners. For the Philippines, these alliances are now seen as a protective shield, offering not just defense, but also a commitment to fair rules, safety, and the right to navigate freely for all nations. For Japan and the US, supporting the Philippines is also about keeping vital sea lanes open, ensuring the free flow of trade, and maintaining their influence in a strategically important region. By working together, these countries hope to deter aggression and prevent conflict, showing that unity can be a powerful tool for peace without triggering war. It's a delicate balance to maintain, but one these nations are determined to keep, believing that cooperation is the key to a stable and secure Indo-Pacific. The map shows why the United States is so invested in the region. American bases and partners form a first island chain from Japan through Taiwan to the Philippines, a barrier against unchecked expansion. The U.S. recently gained access to 4 more bases in the Philippines, including sites close to Taiwan and the South China Sea. These bases allow for faster deployment of planes, ships, and missiles if needed. The U.S. and its partners are developing long-range missiles that can reach into the South China Sea from safe locations. By spreading out forces, they reduce the risk of a sudden knockout blow. This web of bases and alliances is not just about warfighting. It's designed to reassure allies and prevent conflict. Making any attack too costly to consider is the ultimate deterrent. For years, Philippine leaders tried to avoid angering China, seeking investments and playing down disputes. But as Chinese ships became more aggressive, public anger in the Philippines grew. Now, under new defense leadership, Manila is seeking stronger ties with the United States, Japan, and others. The focus is on credible defense, having enough strength to deter threats, not just respond after the fact. This means more joint drills, new equipment, and better training for Filipino forces. The government is also taking a tougher line in international forums, invoking the 2016 Hague ruling that rejected China's sweeping claims. The Philippines is using diplomacy and defense together, hoping to rally more support. The challenge is to keep building alliances while avoiding unnecessary escalation. The Philippines is not alone in its concerns. Southeast Asia's regional group, ASEAN, has its own stake in keeping the peace. ASEAN countries have held their own naval and coast guard drills, calling for the South China Sea to remain open and governed by international law. Some ASEAN members, like Vietnam and Malaysia, have their own disputes with China, while others try to stay neutral. Still, there is a strong desire to prevent conflict and keep the region stable for trade and growth. Regional leaders stress the need for dialogue and cooperation, wanting major powers to respect ASEAN's central role. Efforts to negotiate a code of conduct for the South China Sea continue, though progress is slow. Despite differences, there is a common call for peace. ASEAN's steady diplomacy is a crucial part of the region's search for solutions. The new leaders of the Philippines Defense and Coast Guard forces face tough choices. They must protect their country's interests, support allies, and avoid provoking China into open conflict. Their approach is a careful balance, strong enough to deter, flexible enough for dialogue. Public opinion in the Philippines is shifting, with many now seeing the United States as a reliable partner. Support for Japan has also grown, especially as Tokyo steps up its role in regional security. At the same time, there is wariness. People do not want to become a battleground for bigger powers. The government reassures the public that its aim is peace, not war. By working with allies and strengthening its own forces, the Philippines can negotiate from a position of confidence. The next steps will require both courage and caution. The first-ever joint Coast Guard drill by the Philippines, Japan, and the United States is more than a one-time event. It could mark the start of a new era in the Indo-Pacific, one where countries work together for security. This shift is already changing the regional balance of power. If cooperation continues, it could reduce the risk of miscalculation and make aggression too costly. By showing unity, the Philippines and its partners hope to preserve peace without resorting to force. Challenges remain. China is unlikely to give up its claims, and tensions won't disappear overnight. But by strengthening alliances and practicing together, the region can manage disputes peacefully. With new partnerships and shared resolve, there is hope that the tide is turning toward peace and stability in Asia.